24 books. That's a lot of books. It's a big stack. I'll try and be fast. Hello and welcome to my channel, The Danish Readaholic. My name is Silke and today I will be telling you which 24 books I will be reading in 2024. I'll be reading more than 24 books, but these are books that I want to get to in 2024, and that's rich coming from me, but I don't think that I've ever completed one of these. But maybe I should make it a challenge. Usually challenges work well for me. They haven't this year because I've been busy with a shit ton of other things. But now that I feel like everything is kind of settled down and I've gotten a schedule, I feel like I could do it. So maybe I should set myself a challenge that if I complete these 24 books, I get to buy 5. Doesn't that sound reasonable? I think it does. So if I complete these 24 books, I get to buy 5 books. If I'm just missing one of them, nothing. Oh, that sounds interesting. I'm gonna do it. Alright, let's talk about them. Some of them are from the same series. I will be talking about them together, but it's not a lot of them. But let's start out with some. These I'm actually not going to tell you all too much about, simply because I don't want to know what they're about. I don't know what they're about. I didn't know what they were about when I bought them. First up, we have Winterkeep by Kristen Cashore. This is the 4th book in the Graceling series, and we follow Bitter Blue again, but it's 4 years after the events of Bitter Blue. And it just says that a new land has been discovered to the east. And that's all I want to know. I don't want to know any more than this. But I've had this book ever since it came out, which is when? In 2021. And I haven't read it yet. The Graceling Realm is one of my favorite series, but I don't feel like I can say that when I haven't continued. But the first 3, the original trilogy, I freaking love every single one of them. So why haven't I continued yet? No one knows. Same goes for Sparrow. I got this when it was released in 2022, maybe? Yes, 2022. And it follows somebody named Hiiya or Hava. I don't know how to pronounce it. I would say Hiiya. And this is apparently somebody that we meet in Winterkeep, I believe. If it's somebody that we met in Bitter Blue, then I've forgotten the person, but I'm guessing that she will be properly introduced in either this one or Winterkeep because it's a book about her. And I don't know, I have high expectations for this. It sounds like something I would like, and it also sounds like there will be some seafaring stuff, and I really enjoy that. So even though it's a chunker, both of them, they're at the top of my list, and they don't seem all too intimidating. For some reason, I just haven't been gravitating towards them, and I don't know why. But now I'm adding these to my 24 books I need to read in 2024, and hopefully I get to do that because that means a reward. Let's keep it going with the series, because then, I can tick a lot of books off quickly, which, we like. Next up, we have another series that I would actually like to finish. Once again, I'm not going to be telling you all too much about what these are about, even less than before, because before it's a new story in every single book in the series. These are continuations, so we follow the same people. And we have Reaper at the Gates and Sky Beyond the Storm by Sabaa Tahir. This is the 3rd and 4th book in the Ember in the Ashes series. I actually thought that I had read Reaper at the Gates, and I'm still thinking that I have. Have I? I think last time I was like, no, I haven't. But I just feel like I have. But apparently I don't. Maybe I started it and never finished it. That seems more likely. But I definitely want to finish the series because it is a series that I really, really love. It just kind of lost me a little bit when it started introducing a magical element that I wasn't expecting, because that wasn't the world that I knew. So I just need to kind of get used to the fact that there is this type of magic in the world, and maybe it will turn into something really good. Maybe it will end up with me not really liking it all that much. I don't know, but I'm super excited to see where it goes. And in order to do that, I need to continue with the series. So I am also adding these two to my 24 books that I need to read in 2024. We are gonna move on and talk a little bit about Our Violet Ends by Chloe Gong. This was on my books I want to read before the end of the year, but unfortunately I now need to accept that I don't get to read this year. My current TBR will simply not allow it. So I'm adding it to 24 books I want to read in 2024. For the same reasons that I wanted to read it before the end of the year. I loved these Violent Delights, and I definitely want to see where it goes. Also, I'm super excited for like Foul Lady Fortune, but I don't want to read that before having finished this series. I did find Our Violent Delights as an audiobook, so I'm going to be listening to that and then going into this. Hopefully I can do that already in January, but we'll see. Next up, we have The Godborn and the King. This is the 4th book in the Raven and the Dove series, and it's by Caitlin Davis. This is not as long as as all the other ones on the list so far. And I have this as an audiobook. I really don't know why I haven't read it yet, but here we are. I am such a big fan of this series, and I don't ever hear anybody speaking about it, but I love like the world building and the fact that all of them are like birds and have gigantic wings and everything. You can see her wings, right? But they stretch all the way to the back. You can see it? I love that. I love that this is the type of characters that we follow, and just whenever their wings are explained, it's just so majestic, and I freaking love it. I'm not sure, but I do believe that these might be independently published, but I really don't know. But just like the texture of the book itself, it feels like the type of dust jacket that most of the independent books have. And I know that that's a stupid thing to base it on, but that is my feeling of it. And yeah. So I just wanted to add that. I do believe that this is independently published, but I'm not 100% sure. But I'm so excited to read the conclusion of this series, even though it's always a little bit, to say goodbye to your favorite characters. So let's talk about it. Tale of Witchcraft and Tale of Sorcery, both by Chris Colfer. Chris Colfer is releasing a new book, or a new book series, the first book in what I presume will be a new series from him in 2024. And before going into that, I want to complete the series that he already has out and that I already own. I am gonna go into these 2 books, and I'm gonna do it happily. I don't know what these are about. I'm not going to be reading what these are about, so I'm not going to be able to tell you what these are about. But if you haven't read Tale of Magic, do yourself the favor. I will definitely recommend going into Land of Stories first. However, I do know that is how many books? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's a 6-book series, so I understand if you don't want to do that. But I feel like you get a lot more out of Tale of Magic when you have Land of Stories, even though Tale of Magic happened first. But there's a lot of things that you will appreciate just a tiny bit more when you know what happens later on. I definitely want to continue this series and see if there is a lot more of those little hidden Easter eggs, I want to call them, in this, as well as just like there was in the first one. Next up, we have A Throne of Swans and A Crown of Talons, both by Catherine and Elizabeth Core. I believe, I'm just going to hold this up. This is the sequel. It looks stunning, but I'm just going to hold this up as I speak. So in this one, we follow our main character, Aderin, whose father dies just before her 18th birthday. She then becomes the protector of Aderis, which is, I believe, the world that she lives in, where everybody can turn into a bird. And it says here that Aderin's ancestral bird is a swan, but she has not been able to transform for years, not since witnessing the death of her mother. So it gives me Swan Lake, but with a twist. Because I have a feeling that the reason that she doesn't want it or can't transform because of her mother is maybe because she saw her mother getting shot whilst in bird form. And I feel like that reminds me of that one scene in Barbie Swan Lake, where Rothbard is kind of like trying to trick the prince into shooting Odette. And that is what I think could potentially have happened to her mother, and that is why she is terrified to transform. I am super excited to go into this. For some reason, I have something with like turning into birds or having these big majestic wings. There's just something about it, and I don't know, it intrigues me. And I have the entirety of the series. This is a duology. The first book is not, let me show it properly. The first book is not all that long. The second one is a little bit more of a chunker. Well, not really, but it's longer. And I don't know, I feel like it would be fun to see if I can start and finish a series in just 1 year, because apparently that's not something I do that much. I did actually do that with Circle of Shadows, but that's the only book series that I've ever done that with. So maybe this could be the second. I don't know. I'm super excited for both of these books. I have no clue what this is about, obviously, because I don't want to read what this is about because I haven't read this. It just seems really cool. I'm excited to see what it's actually about. Like, what I just told you, that's the extent of my knowledge, as always. Next up, we have Red Tigress by Emily Vinsal. This is the sequel to Blood Heir. This is on here for the only reason that I want to continue with the series. I don't have the final book, but I was a little bit, well, I liked the first one, but I'm a little bit iffy if I want to finish it. Well, no, I'm not. I'm lying to you. I'm not iffy at all. I want to finish it. But I'm not sure if I want to invest in the third one. So I'm gonna be reading this. I found it as an audio. And then I'm also gonna be listening to the third one. And then if I like it, I'm probably gonna get it so that I have the entire thing. Also, the cover for the third one, freaking love it. It's so stunning. But in this we follow, what's her name? Anna Mikhailov, I believe. And she is the last surviving member of the royal family. And that is just... This is a Anastasia retelling, and our main character has the ability to control people's blood. That's cool. And just the opening scene in the first book, like when we meet, let's call it the love interest. Spoiler, I'm sorry, but we all know it. So when she meets him, it's just that scene in itself, which is like, okay, fine, I'm here for it. So do yourself the favor. And then I'm gonna be continuing. I promise. Speaking of continuing, I read Fable in the beginning of the year so I could finish this. Why didn't I? Honestly, I had so many months to read this book. It's so short. I have it as an audiobook. Like, what? Why didn't I? I think I started it once as an audio and I was like, I'm too distracted to read this right now, and then I just never picked it back up, and I'm mad at myself for not doing that because I should have. I'm still super excited about this book. I love the characters. I still remember what happened in the first one, so I don't feel like I need to reread Fable again. So I think I will try and prioritize to reading this like in the beginning of the year so I don't forget what happened, because as I said, still remember just a tiny smidge. Also, it would be really nice to kind of be able to take off a series. I'm excited to see what happens in this because I did really like the characters and I like the story, and it ended on quite a big cliffhanger. So I believe that this is the final one of all the sequels that I have on here, but I might be mistaken, but I'm like 90% sure. But we have The Dragon's Promise by Elizabeth Lim. This is the sequel to Six Crimson Cranes. I haven't given this a single thought ever since I got it. Not a single thought. This is probably one of the books where I would need to maybe reread the first one. I will probably try and see if I can find it as an audio and then listen to it. I think I listened to it as an audio the first time around, but I'm actually not sure. But I will definitely try and see if I can find it as an audio because I do believe that I'm gonna need this or need it for this. I remember some of the plot points, but I'm not too sure about how it ended, and that's kind of like an important thing when you're going into a sequel. But this is definitely a book that I want to read in 2024 and once again complete another series. Because we love completing series. It's not a feeling that I have often, but like I want to get better at it. Now we get into the books that are not sequels. First up, we have Legends and Lattes. This has been on my TBR for so many months. Like, there's so many months where I have picked this for my TBR. It needs to be read, like now. I'm super excited about it, and all this stuff that I've heard, and also the whole high fantasy, low stakes, good company. It just sounds so good and so intriguing, and I need to read it soon. It has to go on here. It really has to go on here. I'm not going to tell you what it's about because I don't want to. Also because I don't want to know more than what I know. Like high stakes, low fantasy. It's about an ogre and something about a coffee shop. And that's what I want to know. I don't want to know more, so you're not going to know more unless you research it on your own. Next up, we have these Hollow Vows, similar to Legends and Lattes. This has been on millions and millions of TBRs, just for a little bit longer because I've had this for a little bit longer. I have the sequel. I would be able to complete the entire series if I wanted to. I don't know why I haven't read this because I'm like 90% sure that this will be a 5-star for me. It has a lot of the things that I really like, and I'm guessing that it's going to have like a love triangle and also enemies to lovers. And we stan. Mostly enemies to lovers, but we know that. But I also like a good love triangle from time to time. And it's been a while since I've had one, so maybe we will find it in this. Also, the whole good Fae, bad Fae kind of thing that we're probably going to get in this. I really, really, chef's kiss. So obviously this is also going on my 24 bucks I want to read in 2024. You've seen my fairy loot, or maybe you haven't, but this book, when I saw this, I was like, I'm going to I'm going to read that immediately. I didn't, because I have a TBR to get to. But this just seems so goddamn cool that, like, I just need to read it now. And also just the cover. The cover, honestly, the cover is what sold me on this. I don't remember what this is about. I just know that we follow Talon, who wants to become a royal alchemist. And that's all I remember about it, and that's all I need to know. It's not often that I read about alchemy. As I talked about in my books, like 2024 releases I'm excited for. There was one, I think it was something about a hedge witch that I'm super excited for. That has a little bit more of a witchy aspect. And I feel like this is also bordering a little bit more on the witchy aspect, but still with the fantasy overall feel or the overall vibe that I like. So I feel like this might be a good mix, but more towards the fantasy and not so much about the folklore, if you know what I mean. It's a different type of vibe. But I'm really intrigued about this because, as I said, I don't read a lot about alchemy most of the time. It's usually just, but it's usually magic. Just any type of magic. So, I don't know. I'm super intrigued by this. So it's going on my list. Next up, we have The Iron King by Julie Kagawa. This has been a book that I've been wanting to read for so long. As you can see, I have the entirety of the series, and I also have the Evanfall trilogy that comes after it. So maybe I should get started. I think what has been like holding me back with this is that it starts off as urban fantasy. I've tried to read it once before and it took place like in the real world, and I was like, no. But I'm pretty sure that it's gonna evolve into something more than that. So I'm definitely gonna give it a go. And I do have, as I said, the entire series, so I should just, get started. And honestly, just get on with it. Next up, I have House of Dragons by Jessica Cluess. This is like a, what's it called? A trial. Yeah, there's a trial, and then it says that this year it is 5 outcasts who will be pitted against one another, and it is the liar, the soldier, the servant, the thief, and the murderer. And I feel like that is super cool. I believe that it says that the oldest child of each house is always called the golden child, the one who has spent a lifetime preparing to complete in the glorious trials, but this year's different. And that's where they then pick these 5 outcasts to be pitted against each other instead of like the golden child. And then it's just a battle. And I'm so excited for this. It says that it's a battle between Emilia, Lucian, Vesper, Ajax, and Hyperia. And I am beyond excited to get into this. It seems so cool, and I'm kind of mad at myself that I haven't gotten to this sooner because it just seems like everything that I've ever needed in a book. Next up, Daughter of the Pirate King by Tricia Levenseller. It's honestly a crime that I haven't read both this and The Shadows Between Us by Tricia Levenseller yet, because I adore Blade of Secrets, and the sequel Master of Iron, and I also really liked Warrior of the Wild, so I really should be getting on with some of her other books. Honestly, like, she has her entire own like dedicated shelf. I really need to get on with this. I've had this for a while. I don't remember how long. I believe I got it from Caitlin. Maybe I'm mistaken, but I'm pretty sure I did, but I'm also not certain because there's no note in it. I am sure I will like this. I'm so excited for the piratey vibes and the whole siren thing. I think ever since reading To Kill a Kingdom, I'm just looking for something that will give me a similar feeling, because To Kill a Kingdom was just chef's kiss, like one of my favorite books of all time, I think, and it's just so good. So I'm kind of looking for similar vibes, and I think that I will be getting that from Daughter of the Pirate King. Another book I think will give me similar vibes is Sing Me to Sleep by Gabby Burton, so that is why this is on here. And can we just take a moment to appreciate the cover on this beauty? Like, excuse me. It says here on the back, a duty to protect, a desire to kill, and impossible to love. And that seems cool. It sounds so cool. I don't remember what it's about because I tend to forget shit. It just says here in the beginning, Sorcia Sokova survives in secrets. As the last siren in her kingdom, she can sing any man into an early grave, but her very existence is illegal. And that sounds cool. I like this whole badass bitches being able to get men to do their shit for them, and honestly, you know, the whole killing them vibe is also fun. And I also, like, I've always loved, like, sirens, mermaids. They've always been, like, my favorite creatures, like, ever. Even though they're malicious and evil as fuck. But I freaking love them. So I'm super excited to see what they've done in this one. And I just kind of want to go into more, like, mermaidy kind of stuff, if I can, this year. I feel like it's a little bit hard to find mermaidy kind of books, but like I want to get more of like that pirate mermaid kind of vibe. So if you have any recommendations, bring it. I want more of that. Next up, we have The Darkening by Sonia Mara. This has also been on my TBR for a couple of times, I think. And honestly, just like this little thing on the back, it just makes me want to read it ASAP. It says, a fierce revolutionary, a desperate prince. Together they will face the storm or be swept away. I do believe that it has something to do with like a magical storm, like capturing or like, what's the word? Not capturing, but like, what's it called? I don't remember. But then there's this like magical storm, and then we have like these two polar opposites in the prince and this revolutionary, and then I feel like they have to work together, so it gives me a little bit of similar vibes, despite not being about the same thing, to these Violent Delights, because I feel like Romeo and Juliet are also like polar opposites, and they need to come together and work together to solve this problem, and I feel like that's similar with this. I have a feeling that I will really, really like this, and also the cover is stunning. Is she picking a book based on the cover? A little bit, but that's also because I don't remember what this is about, and I don't want to go into like reading what it's about again, because like I've explained this a million times, and I know it makes me like, it makes explaining what books are about a little bit difficult in these types of videos, because as soon as I forget, I kind of want to have it, you know, completely disappear so that I can go into a book blind. But it also makes it difficult when I need to explain why I've picked these books for certain thing. It's honestly just the vibe that I'm getting from it. Some of them are like, I've had them for a while but haven't picked them up yet. With The Darkening, Sing Me to Sleep, and this next one, it's just because the vibe of it and the overall things that I know is enough to make me want to read it. Next up, Divine Rivals by Rebecca Ross. This is like, I feel like this is like a historical fantasy. Yeah, I feel like that is what it could be described as, because it's not the typical fantasy-esque world that you would imagine. There's not dragons, at least to my knowledge. Like, there's no dragons, there's no nothing. It could give me a similar vibe to like a Harry Potter-esque world, but then not really. But in the sense that it's the real world, but with magical elements. So maybe like an urban fantasy. I'm not sure. The reason that I want to read this so badly in 2024 is because it sounds like nothing that I've ever read before. We follow these two journalists, I believe, and then there's this magical element to it. They're rivals, and like, oh my god, it just sounds like it's gonna be so good and so sweet and so cute, and I'm here for it. Also, I believe that this was nominated for like something on Goodreads, right? Did this get a nomination? I'm not sure, but I'm super intrigued by it. That's all I know, so it has to go on the list. 2 books left, guys. This book was on my most anticipated releases for 2023. However, I never got around to reading it, and I don't know why. I'm still super excited about it. I don't remember what it's about, so this is again purely based off the vibes and off the fact that this was actually on my releases I'm excited for. This is 7 Faceless Saints by M.K. Law. I don't know what this is about, but the vibes of the book and just... I'm excited. I don't know how to explain it other than this. Also, it says here, a dark and delicious murder mystery with lush prose, gripping characters, and an intricate lore that will keep you turning the pages. Smash. That's all I have to say. Final book, guys. It's the final one. We have The Princess Will Save You by Sarah Henning. This is The Kingdom of Sand and Sky, book 1. I don't know why I feel like this sounds so cool. I believe that it's because our main character was raised to be a warrior. And it just, it says here, but Amaranda was raised to be a warrior, not a sacrifice, and nothing will stop her from saving her true love. So it's the typical fantasy with like the roles were reversed, whereas the princess will save you. And that just sounds so cool. And I need more of that. And I'm excited to see if this is actually good, because like it could go both ways. This one I'm not like 100% sure I will love, because it could be done in a way where it's like obviously like I'm not like other girls, I'm a warrior or stuff like that. And I really hope that it's not, but it could be. It could potentially be. We all know that. But I'm really, 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 really hoping for something super good in this. That's it. That's 24. Thank you ever so much for watching. Please leave a comment telling me 3 books that you own but you want to get to in 2024. Last time it was like 3 books or 3 new releases that you want to get to. This time, 3 books you own that you haven't gotten to yet, but that you really want to get to in 2024. If you just want to let me know that you're here but don't know what to comment, you can always leave a green heart. If you like this video, please hit the like icon, and if you want to see more of my bookish content, please consider hitting that subscribe button. It will mean the world to me. And until I see you next time, bye!